What if Tudor's biggest problem right now is that their watches look worse in their own marketing footage? Not slightly worse, not debatably worse, but genuinely worse than they do in real life. And that question, it really hit me hard the other day. Because I get hands-on with the new Tudor Monarch, and in hand it blew me away. Under some admittedly rare Glasgow sunshine, the vertical brushing on that dial was absolutely spectacular, and the stunning concentric circle details on the running second subdial, a very well executed dial by anyone's standards. If you make it to the end of this video, I've got some future dial options to share with you, and perhaps a hot take or two. Welcome back to HoroLogical. It looked deliberate, it looked expensive, it looked nothing like it did in the marketing shots, and that's when it clicked. This isn't the first time I've seen this, because if you look at the internal marketing release shots commissioned by Tudor, they have not done this watch any favours at all. But this isn't a new thing. In an earlier video I talked about how I ended up buying a Tudor 1926 Luna Moonphase. When I first saw that watch online, I wasn't too keen. The dials looked flat, muted, but in real life, under real light, completely different. All three variants were strong, but the blue in particular caught my eye, and that was it. Deposit down, ordered there and then, job done. So now I'm starting to recognise a pattern here, because when you actually handle these watches, Tudor aren't missing anything. Take the clasp architecture on both watches underneath. It is essentially the same system. A security fold over, 4 ceramic bearings inside the clasp that gives you a real snap fast performance, a very positive action. But more importantly, long-term reliability with almost non-existent bearing wear. That Monarch uses the Shield logo on the safety fold over. The 1926 has Tudor engraved along the main body. It's a different execution, but the same engineering. Then the bracelet, excellent in both watches. The Monarch's 2-link is very distinctive. The 1926's 7-link is genuinely sublime for the money you pay. And then you get to the movements. The 1926 package leans heavily into an off-the-shelf base, a modified Sellita SW200-1. Proven, reliable and easy to service, even for me on a good day at the bench, but the Monarch is a different level. It's an in-house kenissi MT5662-U, Kosk, Metas, essentially as accurate as a Swiss lever escapement mechanical watch can get, plus or minus 0.5 seconds per day, a 65-hour power reserve. It is an excellent movement. So again, you have to ask the question, why is a brand as big as Tudor not able to capture the magic of these watches in their own marketing shots? Have we sanitised professional watch photography so much with soft filters and After Effects that we have stripped out the very thing that makes the watch special in the first place in real life? Or hot take, Tudor knows exactly what they're doing here, because if the marketing images don't quite land, you go to the boutique and that's where the magic really happens. That's where the secret sauce reveals itself in the flesh, under real light. And that's what drives the sale, because in hand the Tudor Monarch is a watch to behold. Now, who really knows what these brands are thinking behind the scenes? But I do know this from speaking to a few friends and various authorised dealers. Lighting strategy is not random. It is a well-documented area. There are actual scientific metrics involved and at play here. Colour theory, material response, controlled lighting environments. This is engineered. And then you have the final piece of the puzzle. Sorry to interrupt the flow, but YouTube Analytics has just emailed me as I edit this video. Just over 89% of my viewers right now are unsubscribed to the channel. If you genuinely enjoy this type of content and you want to be part of our growing horological community, get in the comments, tell us what your wrist check is right now and get subscribed. Now let's get back on with the show because there are dial option renders to share at the end of the video. Because a lot of the initial reaction to the Monarch, it came from the Tudor fan base wanting another marquee dive watch. And if you're not into the black bay ceramic, which in hand is also a very intriguing watch with some genuinely interesting ceramic light play going on, but look at the shot Tudor uses on their website. Oh, in the boutique, this watch is stunning, but this website shot is completely flat. There is a pattern here. It still sits within that familiar black bay form factor. The photography does not do it justice. But what needs to be understood here is what Tudor have actually given us, because the Monarch isn't random. It is a modern interpretation of the original Oyster concept from 1926. Because it's not just the lighting they're controlling, it is the story, because the Monarch isn't just a random release, it is a modern ghost of the original 1926 Rolex Oyster, the same lineage tied to Mercedes Gleitze, and that historic English Channel swim in 1927 in the California dial. That's not just styling, that is a combination of all the dial options that were available back then. Even referenced in the full page spread Hans Wilsdorf placed in the Daily Mail the very next day. So no, you didn't get a new dive watch this year. What you actually got was a modern version of one of the very first water capable watches ever made. Tudor even has dial colour options in the works. Miami Blue, a previous heavy hitter for the brand. Gloss Black, a wider, more orthodox appeal. And finally, Candy Pink. This is the watch David Beckham will be seen wearing. Historically, Tudor's first purpose-built dive watch, the Oyster Prince Submariner, referenced 7922, it didn't arrive until 1954, 28 years later, and the Rolex Submariner itself, 27 years later. So if you're waiting for that next dive watch release, you might be waiting quite a while, but maybe that's the point. Maybe Tudor didn't fail to capture the magic. Maybe they just left enough out so you'd have to go and see it at the boutique for yourself, because in hand they are completely different animals. And remember, watch collecting isn't logical, but it is horological.